Hello there, Wipper here, and once again welcome back to another mod showcase. And today guys, I'm going to be showing you the MALISIS doors mod, which adds brand new varieties of doors into Minecraft. Because let's face it, in vanilla Minecraft, there's not really that much variety in the kinds of doors you can craft. I know in Minecraft 1.8 you can craft like different kinds of doors depending on what kind of wood you use, so spruce doors and then birch doors and stuff like that, but all that really does is change the appearance of the door, and it doesn't really change the animation or the sound effect associated with it, and that's what this mod changes. So we've got loads of different kinds of doors, as you can see down that row there. Really awesome mod, and there's also some other surprise features that I didn't expect, like the ability to craft your own doors out of any blocks possible, so you can design and then place down your own doors with custom animations and sound effects and stuff like that. So yeah guys, if you can shoot for 600 likes for this mod showcase, that would be amazing. But I'm just going to go ahead and start off by showing you the default door designs and the new animations that come along with them. So we're going to start off with the first one here, which is the jail door. And you can see here we've got like a iron bar kind of texture to it, and if we activate it with a redstone signal, you can see that it slides to the left. That's a brand new animation, not in vanilla Minecraft of course. It just slides to the left and enables you to walk through. So I can go into this jail cell, which appears to be easily accessible from the outside as well, so any criminal locked up in here could easily escape with a button or just walk outside their cell. So probably not the best design for a jail ever, but that's pretty much what you can use this jail cell door for. You can just put it in the entrance to a jail cell and lock people up, and it looks really awesome. So yeah, that's the jail door. But then next up, we've got the laboratory door. So if you've got your own lab to do like scientific experiments in Minecraft, then this is the door for you. And it has a really cool animation and a pneumatic kind of sound effect, and it slides upwards into the block above, and you can even see it extending through the block as well. But yeah, so you can use this for your labs. One criticism I would have for this door is that I wish it was lighter to match the quartz, because most labs in Minecraft would probably be made out of quartz or iron blocks or something along those lines, and this doesn't really fit the theme with its kind of purplish tinge, so I wish they changed that, but it's still a pretty epic looking door nevertheless. But then next up we have the factory door, and this one looks so spooky. So I've gone along with this theme of spooky, and I've got some of these really dark wood planks, of course, which have a purple kind of texture, and we've also got some dark wood as well. So it really fits this kind of design here, but it doesn't really fit a factory theme. Well, it probably would if you had really dark industrial blocks from some other mod. I suppose it would match, but it does kind of look like a spider climbing up the outside of the door. Don't know why. It's probably that red bit that looks like an eye, but yeah, you can open it and it splits in half. So half of it goes down into the block below, and then half goes upwards. Really cool animation. You can walk through, of course, and then walk back out, and I believe the texture is the same on both sides. Yes, it does appear to be. So yeah, that's the factory door. But then next up, we've got a kind of door that I can't even pronounce. It's got that weird symbol with an O and a line above it. Not really sure how you pronounce that. I'm just going to call it the Shoji Door. Shoji Door. I can't even say that. It's a bit of a tongue twister. But I'm just going to open this door, and you can see I've got a double door example here, because this door does work correctly with a double door kind of format. Of course, you can remove one door and it works with a single door, as you can see there, but it also works with a double door, and you only need a redstone signal applied to one of the doors, and then both of them will open, which is a pretty unique ability. You can't do that with vanilla Minecraft, so you can just walk through this, and we've got some lovely kind of sliding doors. You can have this like an entrance at the back of your house to your garden or something. Some lovely French sliding doors. Probably not French sliding doors, because that's not the design they tend to have. But yeah, that's the, I can't even pronounce it anymore, Shoji Door. But next up is probably the coolest kind of door in this mod, and this is of course the garage door. As you can see here, it clearly looks like a garage door, and if I open this, you can see the awesome animation. It kind of curls up and then goes up to the roof, and then you can close it again just by activating the button again, and it has two different states. So this is the open state and the closed state. And it looks really epic. I love these blue kind of tinted windows at the top here, and you can also make these doors any size you want. It's really very customizable. So to actually make one of these doors, all you need to do is get one of these garage door segments, and you can have a garage door that small if you really want to, but you can add them together like so. You can put the windows wherever you want, really. Well, actually no, you can't. They always go to the top of the door. I don't know what I'm saying. So yeah, you can place them down, and you can create any size garage door you want, and it'll always work. Pretty epic. I do wish there was a way way to actually put the windows in the middle or something to make it look a little bit different, but it seems it always goes to the top. But yeah, you can activate this and then it'd work as a functioning garage door, and you can craft them in any size possible. It's really awesome. So yeah, that's the garage door, and possibly my favorite kind of door in this mod. But now we're going to go over to some more simple ones. So here we have an iron sliding door. Yeah, well, an iron glass door, but it does slide to the left, and it makes like a kind of iron sliding door sound effects, of course, which looks pretty neat. You can walk through, and then I can't really get out, there's no button. Wow, I designed that well. I'll just walk around the side. Yes, perfect. Yes, so that's the iron sliding door, and there's also a wooden equivalent of this with a wooden frame instead of an iron frame. And again, makes the same sound effect, and again, I can't get out of this room. I forgot to put buttons on the inside. But yeah, those are the two kinds of sliding doors. So yeah, that's pretty much it for all the default doors, but now we're going to move on to some other features of this mod. So next up, we've got a new kind of redstone emitting block that this mod adds into the game in a similar fashion to pressure plates and buttons and stuff like that, but this one's called a player sensor, so you can place it on walls and ceilings and it will detect when a player walks by it, but bear in mind it also does detect zombies and classes them as players. So if you've got a zombie and it walks through a hallway with a player sensor in it, it's also going to activate whatever redstone is attached to the player sensor because of the zombie as well. So you've got to be careful of that. If you have a door system that is activated by players, then it also can be activated by zombies that might happen to wander into your secret base, which is probably not the best thing in the world, so you've got to be mindful of that. But that's, I suppose, the same issue you get with pressure plates as well. The only thing that's safe from that is buttons. So in front of me I've got a little demonstration of how you can use these player sensors. So we've got some on the walls here, and we've got one over here on the ceiling, which is going to activate this door, which enables me to walk through into the room behind. Now there's some pretty cool features surrounding these player sensors. You may have noticed that both of these redstone lamps are being activated, and that's because all of the blocks surrounding this player sensor get a redstone signal applied to them, which is pretty unique. So you can see here this block behind it is being activated, and also the block directly opposite is also being activated. And just to go a little bit further, you can see that this block over here will also be activated, and the one above it will, and if I could place one below me, that would also be activated, and this side as well. So it activates all of the blocks with a redstone signal surrounding it. And the same goes for the one on the ceiling as well. It activates all of the blocks that are directly touching it or in the radius surrounding it, which is pretty unique. And it also activates this door in front of me, which is a nice iron sliding door, which I showed you earlier. So yeah, that's the player sensor. It has loads of useful applications, but you've got to be careful when using it because it can also be activated by mobs that are more than one block tall. So yeah, that's the player sensor block. But now I'm going to show you how you can create your own custom doors using a special block called a door factory. All you have to do is place it down and then right click on it with an empty fist, like so, and then you can see loads of different configuration options for creating your own custom doors. But I'm going to start off by going to the materials tab, where we've got the frame type, which is the frame around the door, then we've got the top block material, which is the top half of the door, and then we've got the bottom block material, which of course is the bottom of the door. So I'm going to set the frame type to quartz, then we're going to have the bottom part as chiseled quartz because that looks awesome, and then we're going to have some white glass at the top half so you can see into the building through the door, and this should look pretty epic. But now let's just go back to the properties where we've got movement, and the movement is of course the animation when you actually open the door, and I'm going to set this to sliding up because why not. Then we've got the opening time, which is how long it takes for the door to complete its opening animation. And by default, it's set to 6. I'm not really sure what this value stands for. I think it's like 0.6 of a second or something along those lines. But if you decrease it, it's faster. And if you increase it, it's slower, which is kind of logical. So yeah, that's the opening time. I'm just going to leave it as 6 because that appears to be optimal. And then after that, we've got the requires redstone option. And if you enable this, pretty much it's like an iron door, so you have to use a redstone signal to open the door. You can't just go ahead and use your fist, but I'm just going to disable this because I want to be able to open this door just using my hands, because I don't want to fiddle around with redstone. And then we've got a double door option, so if you want this to work as a double door, so if you place two doors next to each other, you can activate both the doors with just one redstone input or one fist or something, then you can enable that, but I'm not going to be doing that. And then we've got finally the sound type, which is the sound it makes once you open this door, and I'm going to set this to pneumatic door because I just love that sound effect of pistons working and stuff. It just sounds so awesome. But then once you've done all of these configuration options, you just go ahead and press build door, and then it creates your own custom door, which is, yeah, called custom door. It's a shame you can't really define what you want the door to be called. Like, you could call it like quartz door or something. I suppose you could rename them in an anvil, but yeah, that's how it works. And then you've got a list of different properties that the door has. So you can see the animation is listed there, as well as the 3 different blocks that the door is comprised of. But I'm just going to get this door, and then I'm going to place it down and see what it looks like. So I should be able to just open it with my fist, since I had that redstone option disabled. And yes, there we go, it's just sliding up, and then sliding down once I right click on it again. It looks really weird with no blocks supporting it though, have you noticed that? Because it just looks like it's flying up into the sky. Goodbye door, you're just going to fly up into space. It looks pretty ridiculous, but yeah, that's pretty much how you can create your own custom doors. But now I'm going to go through all of the different animations that you can actually apply to a door. So if I just open this, you can see if I go to the properties tab and then the movement tab, well, the movement option, you can see we've got a whole list here of different animations. So first up, we have the rotating animation. So if I just press the button here, you can see it's just like a normal door with just like a prolonged opening animation. And then we've got the rotating up and down, which looks a little bit like that. Pretty neat. Then we've got the rotating and sliding, like so. Then we've got sliding up and down. And then we've got sliding 4 ways. It's sliding in 4 directions. Well, it's 2 directions when it opens and then 2 more once it closes. So I suppose it is 4 ways. Then we've got sliding to the side, which is like a sliding door, like those iron sliding doors I showed you earlier. And then we've got rotating and replacing. I'm not really sure where the replacing comes in on that one, but that's what it's called. Then we've got the rotating 4 ways. So it just goes inwards in different ways. And then we've got the vault, which for some reason just spins up and then the bottom half spins down. Really weird one. And then we've got sliding up, which I showed you earlier. And then we've got the rotating around as the final door animation. So yeah, those are all the different door animations that you can apply to your custom doors. Pretty neat, and I love some of them. I really like the vault one because it just looks so ridiculous, and also the sliding up one and the sliding to the side one, horizontal sliding one. But you've probably noticed over this other side we've got some really interesting looking doors with like animated textures on of things you've probably seen before in Minecraft, like the Nether portal kind of texture, and then we've got water texture and the lava texture, and also fire as well. And I'm just going to go ahead and show you how you can accomplish these now. So you can see on the signs above I've said Nether portal door, and then in brackets I've set the actual item you need to use to achieve this effect. So in this case, to actually create a Nether portal effect on your door, you just put in the top half or the bottom half a ender pearl, and I'll just give you a demonstration of this now. So if we go to materials and place in some quartz, and then put a pearl in the top block, and then, I don't know, water in the bottom block, we should build a door. And then when we place down this door, we've got a nether portal at the top half and then water at the bottom half. Because to create the water one, you just need a water bucket, and then a lava one is a lava bucket, and then to create the fire effect, you need a flint and steel. And that's how you can create these really awesome looking custom animated textures on your doors, which go along with some of the things already in Minecraft, like fire and nether portals and stuff like that. But now let's just go along to some really weird test doors I made. We've got like a sapling door here. You can actually use saplings as an item in the door frame. Really ridiculous. And then we've got a really garish looking door, which is a gold and emerald door. And when I open this, of course, just the same like opening animation. But it looks really ridiculous. I mean, when would you ever use such a door? It looks ridiculous. I don't want one of those in my house. It looks so garish. But then we've got an ore door. One does not simply walk into ore door. Okay, that was really awful. But you can see there we've got like a diamond ore texture and then iron ore texture, which you can't really see as the frame there. But then finally I wanted to show you the differences in the door opening speeds if you set the door opening speed to a different value. So this is the fastest possible door opening speed, so the animation is going to play super fast. In fact, it's so fast you can't even see it happening. That's pretty much just like a normal door opening. And then we've got the super slow version, which of course you need to use with a lever, and I'll show you why in a bit. But if I just use a lever, you can see it open super slowly. It takes quite a while for the door to open. And then I can just flick it again to actually close the door. It looks pretty neat. But now I'm going to show you why it's necessary for you to use a lever instead of a button. Because if I use a button, the button stops applying the signal to the door before the animation is completed, and therefore the door shuts straight away. And you can't, well, you can walk through it even when the animation hasn't completed. But yeah, it's not the optimal setup. So I suppose you should use a lever if you want a really slow door opening animation. If you really like waiting for doors to open your whole life, this is probably the one for you. So yeah, those are all the different custom doors, and that's pretty much all I'm going to show you. You can download this mod and mess around with it yourself to see some other awesome looking custom doors. But next up, I'm going to be showing you a really peculiar item called a block mixer. And pretty much the concept of this block is you put in 2 different blocks and it combines the textures of both of those blocks into one singular aesthetic block. All of the properties of the previous blocks will be removed, and all you will end up with is a block which is aesthetic only and is a mixture of the 2 different textures. So just as an example here, you can see we've got a mixture between diamond ore and redstone ore, and it looks really ridiculous. We've got diamond blue ore on this side and the redstone ore on this side, and then we've got like a mixture of the 2 in the center. It looks really neat. And bear in mind, if you are in survival mode, let me just get myself a diamond pickaxe, and then I mine up this block like so, and then pick it up and hover over it. You can see it's called a mixed block, and it has the properties of diamond ore and redstone ore. But bear in mind, you can't put this in a furnace and obtain both diamond and redstone ore. Once the block has been made, the change is irreversible. You can't get back your diamond ore or redstone ore, and it's lost forever. So bear that in mind. Don't waste all of your really precious blocks merging them with other blocks, because you'll never get the originals back. So yeah, I'm just going to place this down again, because otherwise my OCD is really going to annoy me there. But I've got some other demonstrations here of how I've used this mixer block to create some really interesting looking blocks. So let's just go back into creative. So I've got this block here, which is a mixture between obsidian and a nether portal. And you can see here there's a smooth transition between the obsidian texture and then the animated texture of the nether portal, and it looks so cool. And over here we've got like a combination between a block of gold and a block of emerald, and it's got like a really weird gradient between the green and the yellow, and it looks really neat overall. And if you're wondering what this top block is, it's a mixture between an actual block from another mod, which is Biomes of Plenty, called Polished Shale, and then a cobweb as well. And overall, it's just really cool to mess around with this block mixer block mixer block. So what I'm going to do now is show you how it works. So if we just right click on this block mixer block once it's placed down, you can see we've got 2 boxes on the outside, and this is where you place your own blocks. So I'm just going to put in a piston and a sponge to hopefully create a sponge piston. And once you've placed in the blocks, you don't need any fuel, it just automatically combines them. And now what we've got is a mixed block, which is a combination between a piston and a sponge. And I mean, look at that, it's a sponge piston. Of course, it's lost all of its original properties, so this piston won't extend or anything. It's just an aesthetic block at this point, but it still looks pretty ridiculous, and it's really cool for decorating. If you want really smooth transitions between 2 different materials in your building, this is just the perfect thing for you, because it creates a gradient between the 2 different materials, and it looks really epic. So next up, I'm going to be showing you the final item in this mod, and it is called the Vanishing Frame. And pretty much the concept of this block is it's a block that's like a frame, and you can camouflage it with whatever block you want to make it look like whatever block you want. So I can go up to this wooden vanishing frame here and then right click with some iron, and it'll change it to look like an iron block. But that's not where its functionality ends, because of course if you wanted something to look like an iron block, you'd just place down an iron block. I mean, that's not too hard to understand. But pretty much the idea behind these vanishing frames is that you can activate them with redstone to make them disappear on command. So you can see here I've got a lever, and when I activate this lever, all of these blocks are going to disappear. And this is where it gets a little bit more complicated, because there's 4 different kinds of vanishing frame items. We've got the wooden one, we've got the iron one, the gold one, and then the diamond one, and they all have slightly different functionality. Possibly the most different one is the diamond one, but we'll get onto that finally. So I'm going to start off with the wooden one, and pretty much with the wooden one, if you've got other vanishing blocks connected to the vanishing block that is being powered, then they're also going to vanish in turn with the redstone signal. So you can see all of these are connected, and they're all going to disappear. In the wooden frames case, it doesn't matter what they're disguised as, they're all just going to disappear if they're connected to each other. But now I'm going to move on to one which is slightly different, and that is the iron vanishing frame. And this one, all of the materials that all of the vanishing frames are disguised as have to be the same for them all to disappear when they're connected. So you can see here, if I activate this, these are all going to disappear because they're all sharing the same material. But if I was to change this one over here to, I don't know, let's change it to cobblestone and then activate the lever, you can see this one is left untouched. It's not vanishing because it's a different material to the blocks that are neighbouring it. So that's very important, and that's the slight difference between the iron one and the wooden one. I'm not sure why you'd want to use this one and not just that one, unless you have a really specific function and use for this and you don't want people messing around with it or something. You always want it to be one block, and you don't want people to change it. I suppose that could be a reason, but that's pretty much how these work. Now I'm just going to place place these down again, it does get a bit weird because sometimes when you want to like remove one block, it's going to remove the camouflage of the block below, and it's really peculiar. And you're probably also wondering why this yellow wool one is still disappearing, because technically it's not the same block, and that's because this iron one actually ignores the sub IDs. Like you can see here, this yellow wool has a sub ID of 4 because it says 35:4, and pretty much these iron vanishing frames just ignore that sub ID value. But now we're going to move on to one that doesn't, and that is the gold vanishing frame. And this one, you can see when I activate this, the yellow wool is left there and it hasn't vanished, and that's because this one does take that sub ID into account, so it has to be exactly the same block. If it's got a different sub ID, then it's not going to make it vanish. And then finally, we're going to move on to the most complicated one, which is the diamond vanishing frame. And pretty much this one has so many configuration options to do with these, and all you have to do to access these configuration options is right click on any of these blocks, like so, and then you get a whole host of different options in this new GUI. You can see here we've got the direction, and pretty much this means what direction you want this block to transfer its invisibility to. So you can see here it's going to make the blocks above it, below it, north, south, west, east, all invisible along with it when it has a redstone current applied to it. And you can also set the delay, and that's how long it takes for the block to disappear. So you can set this higher, so you can set this to 100, and they're all going to disappear really slowly. And you've also got this block selector here, so you can change the block very easily with all of the rest of the vanishing frames. Wow, these are getting really glitchy. But with all of the rest of the vanishing frames, once you've set the disguise of the block, you can't change it, you can't get it back, so you have to break the block and place it down again. But with this one, you can freely change the material that you want it to be disguised as. So now it says a diamond, and you can set it to whatever you want really easily. And then you've got the duration, which is how long the animation plays for, I believe. And, oh yeah, I forgot to really specify this. The delay is how long it will take for the invisibility to be transmitted upwards or whatever direction, and the duration is how long the animation lasts. We've got one final item that you can change, and that is the inversed functionality. And I'm going to set the inversed thing for all of these and see what happens. So I'm just going to activate this now, and then pull the lever again, and you can see this one disappears when all of these appear, and then when I activate it again, this one appears when the rest of them disappear. And this is a very glitchy mod. As you can see, that one for some reason has just magically appeared. Sorry about that, it's just a really glitchy mod. And you may have also noticed that randomly some of the blocks just jiggle around. Not really sure if this is a functionality that they intended, but it's happening. Maybe it's to like show you where your invisible walls are so you can find your secret areas easier, but really if you want to, why is it just randomly changing? I don't understand this. Anyway, really if you want to hide a location, you really don't want these blocks giving away the location, but pretty much that's what it does. They just randomly glitch around, and it's a bit weird. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much everything for this mod, and it's turned to night time, which is perfect timing. But yeah, pretty much it just adds a whole host of new doors into Minecraft, and you can create your own doors, and there's new sensor blocks, and there's merging blocks abilities, so you can use this block mixer to make some insane looking blocks, and there's also these vanishing frames, which are very glitchy, and probably will be improved in the future. But if you've enjoyed this mod showcase, please remember to smash that like button, and subscribe if you haven't already, and remember to support the mod creator by downloading the mod and testing it out yourself. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll be seeing you next time.